they're doing it. They're trying to fix the game again, right? We did this one time already earlier this week, and they're trying to fix it again. And I'm hoping it doesn't lead to more problems once more. Otherwise, I'm really going to be a broken record. But indeed, Bethesda, in a change of pace, has directly responded to the issues with Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Bethesda has always historically been a company that buries their head a bit. They don't communicate very well at all if this launch of Anniversary Edition was anything to go by, and it's because they knew this was going to be disastrous. But usually when things go disastrous, i.e. Fallout 4 Next Gen Update last year, what happened? Nothing. No talk, no announcements, no plans, nothing. They just showed up, broke the game, went deuces, and they went out of here. I open with this because it underlines the sad state of this company, that I know any other developer would be scrambling over this issue, but that for Bethesda, after how they handled the Next Gen Update last year, I'm surprised that they actually have a patch roadmap for us. I thought this was going to be it. However, it's also just embarrassing to see the state of this game. It was perfectly fine before April of last year. And Bethesda now has needed to put out a patch, not hotfix, but a patch roadmap for a decade-old video game. That's how broken it is. They are dedicating resources to supporting Fallout 4, not to add new content, not to add quality of life, but to fix what they destroyed. It's humiliating to do this. It's nice to know they're doing something about it, but there is a message within all of this that we absolutely have to take away from this. And it's, again, the embarrassment Bethesda has created for themselves. They can fix Fallout 4 all they want, but at this point, it almost necessitates make good actions. Like, hey, we know we ruined this game. Here's what we're doing to make it right. Here's new content, or here's something for free. I don't know. They need to really pick up the good PR if they don't want people being completely bitter and jaded by the time Elder Scrolls 6 starts kicking around. Let's start to break all of it down, because you'll start to identify the things that irked me while reading this, because I'm not really looking for things to be angry about. I'm not that type of person, but you'll see what their priorities are, which are the creations menu and making sure this is ready for TV show fans. And I'll break that down when you start to see the timeline of the patches and what's ready now versus what's getting hot fixed next week. So let's read what Bethesda had to share with us. They write, "We're actively investigating issues you're encountering with the latest Fallout 4 update and Anniversary Edition launch. You should now see faster load times of the Creations menu, game menu, and the redemption of Creation Club items. We plan to publish a hotfix early next week to address the following: fixing stability problems, particularly on Xbox One and PS4, fixing an issue that causes creations that rely on DLC to not work, and fixing an issue that causes DLCs to become uninstalled after updating the game on PlayStation." And yeah, Bethesda and PlayStation continue to have this horrible history. It's continued now into Fallout 4. Remember when creations and console modding first launched, and it was only on Xbox, and PlayStation fans were like, what about us? And Bethesda was kind of blaming PlayStation, and now here we are. Creations come to PlayStation, and it leads to the uninstalling of people's DLC. It's unbelievable. But what do you see here, right? What's priority one for Bethesda? Again, I'm not trying to look for things to complain about, but I can't help but read it this way. You fixed your store first. So think of any other comparable in any other game. Think of Ubisoft, right? In Assassin's Creed games, they have the storefront in the pause menu. Imagine if there was something catastrophic going on with their game, and the first announcement Ubisoft makes is, hey, the storefront menus work now, and we'll be back next week to fix things like stability, DLC creations, that sort of thing. It reads terribly, and that's because it is that. Yes, the rumors are true. If you go inside the creations menu now, it actually loads. So you can actually see the things you're going to buy without having to wait like 5 minutes for the thumbnail images to load, for the descriptions to load. This once more taps into something I've been saying a lot lately. In particular, I talked about it in our Fallout Bethesda disconnect video on how what's good for Bethesda is very different from what's good for its fan base. And there are ways companies can make those two align. Like Bethesda's a business, they need to make money. That's why creations exist. I can wrap my head around that. But does it have to be so heavy-handed of like, I'm the company, I need money, that you fix your store before your game? I don't think so. But it also goes again to who Bethesda is really paying attention to, which is not you or I, but I do believe the show fans, as I'll say a million more times throughout the rest of this year. Before anyone spends money on this, they want the game to be working and in tip-top shape, but we see the priorities here. When are these hot fixes dropping? Beyond next week. Bethesda continues on saying the hot fix will be followed by 2 patches. By the way, big difference there, right? That patch usually indicates something much more substantial. So it'll be interesting to see what's going on. They say the first patch will be the week of November 24th, and the second in the first half of December. We'll provide an overview of these patches soon. Thank you for your continued updates and support tickets. It's helped us pinpoint issues. We'll work to address these as quick as we can. Let's roll back the clock a little bit, all right? Come on a little journey with Matty here. I was saying before the launch, this was not about you, me. This is about Joe Schmo, casual dude down the street who's like, oh yeah, I love the Fallout TV show. And then they fire up their Xbox store and they go and look up Fallout. And here's the brand new SKU, Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. Oh, sweet, they just dropped a new thing of this game. Oh, $60, whatever, it's Christmas season. I'm gonna buy this for myself. Note the timing of when this game is actually going to be in a ready state. Hopefully. I mean, unless these patches, which are much bigger than hotfixes, these patches do not break the game further, which, God willing, I really hope they don't. But note the timing. This is something I talked a bit about, in that Bethesda wants this ready for the TV show fans. This is not about you or me, the hardcore, who was here lifting up the series this whole time, making this an anniversary even worth celebrating. It's not about that. It's about getting it ready in time for the masses who are going to come in and buy it. And I get it. I mean, this is something I talked about prior to the Fallout Day showcase of, like, Bethesda should have content ready for this TV show. So I don't want to talk out of both sides of my mouth, but again, the optics of this all are terrible, because it's like, okay, so I was correct, right? Like, this is how things ended up. This thing shipped broken. You knew it because you hid everything about it. You laid out a patch roadmap for the entire thing, and you're going to finish it by the first half of December. When does Season 2 launch? Oh, just at the start of the second half of December. Right, December 17th, right before, I imagine, Bethesda goes out on holiday. Everyone takes some time off. Fallout 4 is good to go. 76 will have already launched its big update in Burning Springs on December 2nd. Fallout is ready to go and reap the benefits of Season 2, which, based on that trailer we already talked about, looks awesome. So, yeah, like, they're going to make a lot of money off of this, but it's just frustrating, you know, because, again, it just reads terribly to me. Then they start to detail what we can expect in the November patch. They say, notably, in the November patch, Xbox Series X and S players will see Creation's local storage limit increase substantially, growable up to 100 gigabytes to match your needs. And we're also looking into increasing storage on PlayStation, which, I don't know the technical background on all this. I don't know why PlayStation's being left behind on this, but this again was a big indication that this was not ready. Remember, we covered before the launch, Bethesda put up in a Steam post that they were looking into updating Fallout 4's creation storage limit, and that really makes a huge difference, as I'll detail in a moment here, but it seemed like it was pretty far off. Now they look to be doing this ahead of the TV show dropping, which I think is a actual positive update, to be transparent with you all. Like, this is actually a good thing, and I'll explain why. Before I start breaking that down, part of me as I argue with myself for a moment, because I know hindsight 2020, right? There's a world where we're all angry that Bethesda did not drop this update on November 10th, but we get a much more polished version of it on, say, maybe November 24th, barring Bethesda not ruining the game further. That's, I guess, always a possibility here. But when you put in your Steam update that this is laying the groundwork for additional storage for creations, that is worded like it's a ways off. When I now know it's 2 weeks away, alongside patches that this version of the game desperately needs, doesn't it make sense to hold it? Wasn't that the obvious choice all along? I think the more obvious choice was just getting to work on Fallout 4 much sooner. I think it's very clear Bethesda genuinely abandoned this project and turned their attention toward, I don't know, I would say Starfield, but last year was Shattered Space, and it really didn't feel like Bethesda's full attention and effort was on that either. So yeah, I get they wanted to do what Skyrim Anniversary Edition did, right? Here's the release date of the thing you remember well, here's a big update to celebrate it, and with Skyrim, we can see how well that does work out. But with Fallout 4, it's like, dude, I mean, if it's in this disastrous of a state, I feel like delaying is the only option, especially if, again, your target is clearly TV show fans. They don't care about this anniversary. We do. So yeah, I just had to get that off my chest. Let's start breaking this down a little bit more, though. So I mentioned that I think the update of storage size for the creations is a good thing. Why is that? Well, creations on games like Starfield have really started to push the limits of what we hoped the system could do, which was to support full DLC sized mods. I always bring them up, but I do because they are the best example of it. King Ath Creations is an incredible team, and they've done the likes of Watchtower in Starfield, which is like a full-on faction quest line with voice acting. Like, it really shows the promise and the potential of Creations when the right team is handling it with the right resources and the right talent. Definitely with Fallout 4's launch date, not convincing. And yeah, when we saw some of the big name Creations step out and they didn't even have like great proper voice work from the protagonist side of things, like they seem to be restitched lines from the MCs, that was a little bit saddening, no doubt. So I'm not holding my breath on what Fallout 4 Creations can accomplish. However, there are DLC sized mods like Fallout London that immediately come to mind here. And I feel like that is the vision to some degree, is to eventually get those types of expansion like material onto Creations, because for Bethesda, it's an obvious, like, why wouldn't we want that? It's a major win for them. And I certainly would happily pay for Fallout London, no doubt about it, or DLC sized like mods such as that. The question mark is getting like a Fallout 4 script extender over to consoles to support those types of mods, because otherwise they crash right away. But step one is getting the storage limit increased. So this can be a game changer. Like the Creations that you got with the Creation Bundle, God bless your soul if you decided to buy them and didn't refund them, those Creations are like Creation Club era, where it's just, you know, here's a note and here's a knife with like a different skin on it, right? Like a bunch of paint jobs. However, the new era Creations, the ones done well, like from King Ath's Creations, where they do things like the Bard's College mod or Watchtower, those really push the limit into what we expect from top tier creators in this space. So knowing that this can be supported sooner is a good thing. And I wonder if other modders can port their projects over to consoles if we can figure out the script extender. But this is the thing, we're putting a lot of hope in this basket of like, we don't have anything fully tangible except this increased storage limit. So it is a positive update, no doubt about it. But you know, the problem with all of this that I probably should have led the conversation with is that the faith in Creations has been stomped out. That's the big problem here, is that Bethesda had this opportunity with Fallout 4 and so many eyes on it, and even Starfield, to be like, here, see what we mean? This is what's possible. Okay, just walk with me for a moment again. Imagine a world where Bethesda steps out and they have Fallout 4 Creations ready and people are like, oh my God. But then in this perfect world, they're like, Fallout London is coming to consoles. And it's this moment of like, you get a full new world of Fallout, or Bethesda has an officially supported creation that they themselves have made that is like an expansion. Like, we bring you to a new location. Here is new voice work, like an actual tone setter for what it can be. Imagine that world and what that says about Creations. It does open the minds of people, even though I know the comments, and myself included, are all like, screw this system. It could be so much better. But they missed that window. And I don't know if there's ever going to be another time for that window to crack open again, because both Skyrim and Fallout 4 have gone now. The only one I can think about is Oblivion Remaster ever going to get Creations? Is that even possible with this kind of hybrid engine approach? I don't know. It sounds like a technical mess, and that's another game that just had its complete update roadmap abandoned, it seems, because I still can't really fully enjoy and play Oblivion Remastered all this time later. But yeah, the window is really closed at this point. I think maybe Elder Scrolls 6 could be your next moment, but by that point you're launching ES6 and you want it to be about what Bethesda's doing. Get my point? So they really squandered an opportunity here. Maybe 76? Can 76, like, they can't even mod 76. So I don't know. Like, it's really a sad situation. They kind of blew it for their own community in a way. And it's saddening. So then we move on to this final update here. The community manager of Bethesda did respond to another issue that people are having. She wrote on Discord, "We've discovered the cause for an issue some players were experiencing where content they bought recently was no longer recognized as owned. The team is currently working to resolve this issue, and we'll be able to share more details as soon as we are able." So yeah, Bethesda is also on top of this one, where yeah, if you like open up your DLC menu, like you're currently not registered as having your stuff, which is why some of these creations are breaking, but also like you can't access that content, and it's breaking save files too, because you would load into a save that does not have your content, and so it just breaks the whole thing. So That's a major one. And they're addressing that too. So yeah, this has been disastrous. And it's really just awe-inspiring to see we have a patch roadmap for Fallout 4 in the year of our Lord and Savior 2025. But nonetheless, this is what Bethesda is planning to do. We'll continue to reassess as time goes on and we get those patches and those hot fixes and see what Bethesda is really doing with Fallout 4 and if they finally fixed it. So we'll be back, I guess, when the first patch drops on November 24th, but it seems like temporarily this is the end of the saga. Definitely a rough timeline. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, would love to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts down below on the fixes coming to Fallout 4, and I'll catch you in the next one.